right to a mom with a baby. And she said, what about a police officer or whatever? I said, don't worry about a police officer or a security guard. Because then I just thought to myself, well, security guards are the most dangerous people in the world. Like, they're exactly the person who, like, I think probably 4 or 5 people who've been abducted, those people worked as security guards at some point.
Yeah.
So, like, no, don't go to a security guard.
No.
Go to a mom.
Go to a mom.
Because a mom will protect the fuck out of you.
Yep, that's hysterical.
And what about a dad? I was like, yeah, don't worry about a dad.
Yep.
Just go
No
right to the
dads.
mom. Moms are the best. They
Yeah.
always have the best food. They're going to get you ice cream.
They're going to have a Band-Aid.
Everything.
Yeah, that's hysterical. I told my son that word for word. I was like, just
Go-
find a mom.
And so that's that's my thing.
All right.
All right, now we're ready to go. Here we go. All right.
Where's our tweet?
All right, I'm on the Twitter. Where's the
There
tweet?
we are.
I'm looking at my at mentions.
You just tweeted?
Okay, good. We're working with Twitter on their live streaming. Let's see. Here. I'm always waiting on Jim. Who the fuck's Jim?
I don't know.
So you're going to tweet it, then we retweet you?
I think at TWI Startups we'll tweet it. The minute we're live, we'll do it. Okay, great. We're trying this cheddar thing. We're seeing if this cheddar thing works, if anybody tunes in.
Cheddar.
Cheddar.
LOL, cheddar.
Cheddar.
And
Cheddar.
let's see,
Ara.
Bodega. Sure.
Have some cheddar. On-demand Wagyu beef startup. Will you fund it? Yes.
On-demand Wagyu beef. That would be
Jesus Christ.
It's not a joke.
Peak elite. Peak elite. No, I know. I
It's not a
mean,
joke.
the fact that it's not a joke is itself the joke. Right. I'm tweeting that we're live, even though we might be. Oh no. Oh, this broadcast is no longer available. Rant. Maybe. You guys, I think the most important news of the day is that the Boba Fett Wikipedia article was edited anonymously from the U.S. House of Representatives. This is serious.
Does this mean that they have finished the...
Serious.
This is serious. We can make you delirious. Don't do drugs, kids. Let me know if you'd like to participate in the end of days. I'm going to lead the angel round of this on-demand Wagyu beef startup. Let me know if you'd like to participate in the end of days. I think that's a pretty good tweet.
I think that's a good tweet.
That's a pretty good tweet.
That's an A+ tweet.
That's A+. A minus. I give it an A minus.
We did.
Ow.
Unknown sender. Who the fuck is the unknown sender? These crafty little founders, just some of them figured out that on iMessage, like your email address is associated with your iMessage.
Mm-hmm.
So like, hey, I sent you my business plan 4 times. You did not respond. I thought I would just ping you on SMS on Sunday afternoon. It's like,
It's a great reporter tactic, though.
it is so good, isn't it?
It is really
It is so good.
Yeah.
It is so good.
You're like,
Here's how
we're
I
not live, right? Apple's not going to shut that down?
Here's how I neutralize all reporters. Hey, I was wondering if I could talk to you. I got a great story we're working on. I'm like, that's great. Send me the questions by email or DM. It's like, well, it'd be much easier if we talked on the phone. I'm like, for you. But if you want to talk to me, send me your numbered questions, and I'll get back to you immediately. Then they send me the questions.
Why do journalists
Then I
make
forward
fun
them
of
to the
your
CEO of the company that they want to talk to and say, Bloomberg is doing a story about X, blah, 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 blah. Here's their questions. How should we respond to this?
Really?
Yes, exactly what I do. Whose team do you think I'm on?
Outstanding tip right there.
Outstanding tip. I'm
Don't
like, send me the
trust
questions.
Jason.
Well, no, if you send me the
no reporter
questions,
should ever send the questions.
No.
of course.
No.
I mean,
They all fall for it.
that's already.
They all fall for it. It's all power, asymmetry. They're like, oh, you want me to get on the phone and not know what we're going to talk about?
Where do I tell people to go here
No.
to watch this?
That's what we're
So I
trying to
sent
figure
them
out.
to that pair- Okay, good. All right, good.
There's a link, but they're still trying to push out on their end.
Okay.
Should we just do this next time? Or are they,
Yeah, I think they're going to give up on us if we don't make this work.
Oh, okay. Well, this broadcast is no longer available. Oops.
That's what I got too.
This Periscope is no longer available. I see live This Week in Startups in the sidebar of Periscope.
I see.
So on the link I clicked on, there was a live. It says
this
connecting.
thing. Right.
Hmm.
We're going to just watch ourselves for a minute. I see loading. This Week in Startups is live. Maybe.
Maybe.
Hope springs eternal.
Oh, there it is. I see 4 people watching live. I think that's the 4 of us.
That's all of us.
It says it's connecting.
Can you see me? I can see
No.
myself from here.
I see a blank screen, but it's only been up for 37 seconds, so let's see. 7 people are watching it. 7 people. I wonder, are we connected this to the This Week in Startups account? Maybe we should have connected it to my personal account. Then it'd be Jason is live streaming. Oh my goodness. This is challenged.
Yeah, I don't know.
Twitter's telling us it's live, but we can't get it.
It's live except for the 4 of us.
Live on the page, promote it like crazy, but we're not.
I have it loaded here and it says connecting and there's nothing there.
At the Twitter link that I gave everybody, though?
It says 10 people, but it's not playing anything, so I'm seeing nothing. I'm on the This Week in Startups account. The first tweet is 2 minutes old, not the 4-minute-old tweet, which is...
This is the link for the event.
And it's in the left-hand side of Periscope, and I see it there. It says it's connecting, but it is not connecting. I'll try on my phone. Or we can just pretend it's live. And
Is the stream still up?
do you see it on your phone, Jackie?
I don't think
Yeah, that's always a good test, is to check the old phone. There are definitely...
It's the event page that I care about, because that's what I told everybody where it was.
Yeah, but if you just go to the This Week in Startups profile page, the first tweet, which is 3 minutes old, has 15 people watching it live. And when you press the button,
Oh, yeah, I understand that.
it's a blank screen.
Page is what I'm trying to get active here.
Don't worry about
But
the...
it doesn't actually broadcast us.
Yeah, I mean, all that matters is the tweet that you just did that has 15 people on it that cannot see or hear us. All I know is every time a member of the, like, alt-right or KKK or Stormfront uses Periscope, it works. Milo Yiannopoulos, Ben
Works just
Shapiro, all these guys,
But
their
they just hold
their
up a
Periscope
phone
works.
and
That's true. They just hold up the phone. They're not
Start
going.
talking.
They're
We
not
can
going
totally
through
do
it.
that.
That's actually probably what it is.
Yeah. It's that you're
It's
trying
probably that
push
we're
a
trying to do
whole
something special with like
mixed
a.
stream and
Yeah. We're doing like. That's true. Did they burn down Berkeley last night when Ben Shapiro went there to talk nonsense?
Not so far.
Good.
I didn't hear any
Good.
helicopters on my drunken ride home.
Is it like the last couple times they did like hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage?
Yeah.
Antifa. I love that clip of
I know.
Trump.
Antifa!
Antifa. He knows what he's doing too. It's so great.
he
He's like a crazy grandpa who knows and understands memes and the internet. He knows how to create a meme. He knew when he said Antifa that would be.
Better be me malicious.
Yeah.
You think?
I think there's a lot of
credit.
that. Like
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton's team met with Jiffy, I think it was, ahead of the election to try to figure out, when she does her talks, what would be.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
This
that
was
kind of
totally-
It's
thing.
memeable.
Yeah.
And then like all the sunglasses stuff.
Oh, right. Yeah, the sunglasses coming down, and she's on her BlackBerry. She's like, no, I'm just busy killing Osama bin Laden. Go fuck yourself. All right, 34 total viewers.
For our dead
Unable
screen?
to sing. I think that's pretty good. When 34 people will look at a blank screen for you, that's a pretty good sign. I think that means you've arrived. This is like a Lady Gaga like art piece. Oh boy. Are you on the phone with this kid from the Twitter?
Someone did catch the snap and respond and say, link is not working. Now he might hear me too, right at that moment.
Yeah, they're gonna like.
Yeah, I caught the snap, B.
All right, well, we tried.
You guys want to watch a video of my niece doing ballet?
Yes.
She's 4, so it's
Yes.
couldn't be
Sounds
cuter, basically.
super charming.
She's so cute. She's so funny. And pulling up her pants, like, or pulling up her tutu the whole time. Plie.
Oh, she's sportscasting her own ballet.
Yeah, she's showing us what she learned in, like, first position.
Tights are so uncomfortable, aren't they?
I know, she's just like, second position. Her mom's like, you biffed it. Kids.
Nope. Not fifth. Nope.
Nope. Just,
It's a very hard concept.
it's really... Tiptoe twirl.
Anything else you'd like to show us for your ballet class?
She's just doofy.
Aw.
I know, so cute. I love her little voice. My sister-in-law's always like, her speech is a little delayed, and I'm like, no, it's hysterical. Third position. Aww. She's all,
Can I see the video now?
yeah, she's like, can I watch myself?
Oh my God, I just saw it. We're up.
We're up.
We're up.
I see it.
Is it the same link?
I don't hear it, but I see it.
Ooh, I see it.
All right, so that's it. We're live. Okay, good.
All right.
And we are live on.
Woohoo! All right. Pew. It's good that now that everyone's here to see us, we're all tweeting.
Yes.
Welcome to our tweeters. Beedle-deedle-dee.
This is as good as it gets. This is as good as it gets. Oh my God, 60 people already. Holy cow, this could be something. Okay.
This could be something. This could be everything.
This could be it.
Drink
This
me a
could be it.
big
Finally, my career gets where I need it to be. Okay.
Next stop, Mayor.
Next stop, Mayor Jason. Oh God, that train is getting too much steam. It's like, really? Is this city that fucked up that me being mayor is like something people consider an upgrade? It's pretty great. It's like as expectations lower, my qualifications increase. It's great. It's the Trump
As
phenomenon.
democracy crumbles.
I seem like a viable
Jason
option.
rises.
Absolutely. It's like, well, that would, it's like, like 5 years ago, it'd be like, well, that will never.
I'm
What,
sorry,
what
but-
idiot would vote for you? Now it's like, what idiot wouldn't vote for
Why
you?
not?
That makes total sense.
If The Rock can do it,
Yeah, exactly. If it's like Kid Rock, The Rock, Jason Calacanis, Arnold, Sam Altman, Trump. It's like I'm right in there. I'm in the mix.
I think you should put yourself above Sam Altman.
I would be a little bit above
You
Sam
should
Altman. I'm just trying to get inside his head.
Definitely do that.
Just trying to get inside Sam's head. He's definitely going to run for governor. I got the inside line. And he's going to get demolished.
Yeah, you think?
For sure. I mean, I'm friends with Sam, but I think in a debate, Sam's an introvert. He's not a good public speaker. So I know it's the start of the show. I'm just trying to throw a little shade over at Sam Altman and pretend that I don't know I'm live. So like before we go live, I'm just telling you, like I talk to people who are talking to Sam just off the record, and like Sam's totally doing it. I have the total inside line, and he's going to get single-digit percentages because rich, elite white guy from Silicon Valley who's an introvert, whose BFF is Peter Thiel, governor of California. Your BFF is Peter Thiel, and you're going to like secret meetings with Peter Thiel. Like, it should be like, what? Peter Thiel's puppet is going to be how he's portrayed.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, let's go live now. Okay. Yeah. Can we start the live
idea,
stream now?
good
I'm
idea.
done throwing shade. No, seriously, it's like one of my best friends. He's not my best friend. I mean, we're friends, but not BFF. All right, let's go. Go ahead, do it.
like him like that.
3, 2, 1, me when you're ready. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of This Week in Startups. I'm your host, Jason Calacanis. Yes, at Jason on Twitter. And we are very happy to announce today that we are live on Twitter Live. So thanks to our friends over at Twitter. Jack, thank you. By the way, Jack, my name's Jason Calacanis. We met about 18 times. He didn't remember last time I met him. It was a pretty funny moment. So today on the program, everybody's favorite Molly Wood is back. She is the host of Marketplace Tech. Welcome back to the program for your 27th appearance.
Thank you. I like that everybody's favorite business.
Yeah, well, I always get a lot of like, bring more Molly. Everybody wants more Molly. Yeah, well, that was just Burning Man. But also here on the show, more Molly. But I'm bumped. Yeah. Did you burn this year?
I did not burn.
Have you burned?
I've never burned,
So,
which I feel like
do
disqualifies
you feel
me
you will burn in the
immediately
future?
From tech.
from Silicon Valley, yeah.
Do you intend to burn in the future?
I'm not going to lie, I don't really want to burn, but I also am increasingly feeling that burning is unavoidable.
It is
as
unavoidable
like a
if you live it.
professional duty.
Exactly.
by
I'm
now.
also not one of the burners.
Yeah.
All right, and our for the first time, Sarah Frier is here, just like Frier Tuck is how you pronounce your last name, correct? Frier, F-R-I-E-R. You can follow her on the Twitter as well, Sarah with an H and F-R-I-E-R. She is a technology reporter for Bloomberg News. You can follow them. They're at Business on the Twitter, since this is a Twitter festival and joy and love for Twitter finally getting us on the Twitter Live with over 200 people watching. We're going to talk about a lot of things today, including the iPhone X and will you pay $1,000 for a new phone, and is the best that Apple can do. Talking poop emojis. Facebook seems to have run Russian ads and helped Russia interfere with the election, and they are in hot water about it, and they refuse to release the racist, bigoted, anti-gay, anti-black ads that they run and they approve to run that were paid for by the Russians. This is all coming out in the past week. Additionally, the bropocalypse continues with SoFi's CEO resigning among multiple sexual harassment scandals. This is just never going to end. Bodega, 2 ex-Googlers have made headlines for their tone-deaf launch using the name Bodega to put bodegas, which are basically in Brooklyn, we call them delis, like corner delis. They're trying to put those out of business, so they decided to co-opt their name to do that. And some more news on influencers and how social companies are making money off them or stopping them, and how tech hasn't kept up with food stamp users' needs, something we should talk about. Bitcoin's been banned in China. And Tesla had nothing to do with the fatal autopilot crash, but they lacked safeguards. An NTSB report out. Nestle's acquired Blue Bottle, which is loved by hipsters here in San Francisco and probably loathed by the rest of the country. And apparently Google wants to invest in Lyft after having invested in Uber, which is always a bad look, but they're obviously in a big fight with them. Let's start with the iPhone X. I'm assuming you both watched the keynote or at least read up on it afterwards. Molly, thoughts on the $1,000 phone? Is this something that is going to be a non-issue, or do you think people are actually going to not buy based on it being so expensive? Or is an extra $200 or $300 for a phone de minimis compared to the value we all get from our phones? It's 50 cents more a day over a 2-year lifespan.
Yeah.
Do people care or not?
I will tell you that I've gone back and forth on this in my mind many times, because I do think that smartphone pricing, there's an argument to be made that it's gotten super out of hand. At the same time, the iPhone 10, the 10, like OS 10.
I can't call it X.
Even though there's an X, which I really should have seen coming in retrospect. I was like, right, OS 10, iPhone 10.
Yeah,
It's the
10th
10th
anniversary.
I get it. Yeah, 10th anniversary. Although
Also, 9 is kind of like, I could skip the 9.
Yeah, don't do 9. But iPhone X
9, I'll wait for
sounds
10.
kind of cooler to me
X is
than
much
iPhone
cooler.
10. Like, it
It does
sounds
sound
cooler.
cooler. It
Like
sounds
Professor
SpaceX.
X, Professor X.
Yeah. I
So
think they're biffing it. I really do, which is a larger theme. I think after having seen some of the benchmarks for this phone and watching what Apple's doing, which is essentially create a super premium category within their already premium lines, right?
Genius.
They've done it with the MacBook. Like they refreshed all the MacBooks, and then they did the really fancy one that had USB-C. I mean, it's for people who are... What they're kind of doing is this very clever mini Microsoft strategy where they have backwards compatibility with an iPhone 8 that works just like and looks identical to the one that you have been using since the 6. So it's not very scary. Mm-hmm. But for people who are super fans and who are willing to learn new things and learn new behaviors and pay more money, then they have this sort of other line of goods and like Hermes watch bands. And, I mean, they're clearly sort of creating a new strata within their product lines, which I think is really interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that said, as much as it pains me to admit it, I think the phone is worth $1,000. It's faster than a MacBook. Did you see some of the benchmarks? It's faster than a MacBook Pro.
It's really incredible, but I think people who worry about this $1,000 price point, it's just gonna push people to the monthly payment installment plans a lot more. Because what's a few more bucks a month? It's like one day that you don't take an Uber.
Yep.
Whoa! Easy on the one day not taking. What you mean is
it's
one
a lot of
less
days.
blue bottle coffee.
One less blue bottle coffee.
Please, let's be careful here. Don't mess with my money. Keep going, Sarah.
But, it's one of those things where you're like, I could afford $5-10 more a month. And then you can, make this work in a non-premium tier as well for people who are just so attached to their iPhones because it's just part of their whole ecosystem.
Yep. I mean,
It has been for years.
It's very expensive, but it's true that the way that we buy phones in the U.S., the day of the announcement, the one thing I think is interesting is that they're in some ways pricing themselves out of China.
That's a good point.
And
that argument doesn't apply to international.
Right, because we buy phones in a totally different way in the U.S. We don't pay for them. We pay for them monthly. We get them highly subsidized by carriers.
Contracts.
And that is not a common model, and that's not a model that exists within, let's say, the Chinese middle class. However, I was looking at the Apple website and noticed that because their model has or their strategy has always been we have a new thing, so the old thing never existed. We were always at war with Oceania, right? It's like the old models completely disappear and you can't buy them anymore. But if you look at the Apple Store now, they are still actively selling iPhone models all the way back to the 6. And then including the iPhone SE. So if you really looked at their entire line, they've got a ton of iPhones for sale at a ton of different price points.
Doesn't that just make it more confusing for customers, though?
It's a hot mess.
This is not the Steve Jobs simplicity. This is a lot of different tiers, a lot of different options.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you each rocking over there? You got 7s, 6s, or 7s?
I'm on a 7 Plus.
7 Plus for me, too.
7 Plus of all around.
The black one.
Because
I have it's the black one. With the
now
took
when
the
we
case
bought
off.
the 7 Plus, we all thought, correct me if I'm wrong, seems like a minor upgrade. Doesn't feel like there's anything that new in it. But
I was really mad about the headphone thing.
Still really mad about the headphone thing. But then I have to say, I was absolutely delighted with the purchase when I started taking pictures.
Yeah.
The camera is so much better on the 7 Plus.
That's all that matters to me.
Is it? All that is the camera. That's the only
That's all
good
that matters
great.
to me.
That's the great feature.
The portrait mode is great. I mean,
The portrait mode, if you
amazing.
have dogs or kids, is amazing. I take pictures. My wife saw pictures that we took with the portrait mode, which blurs the background like a hipster photo and makes the face crystal clear. She immediately went that week to get upgraded because she was like, I don't want you to be taking better photos than me of our children. I need to go get this better phone. So my question to you both is, the phone was a clear upgrade. I loved AirPods. I think it's the best product they've made in a long time.
I'm never, no.
What did you mean?
I'm just
Do you
never
realize
doing
that
that.
these connect immediately and instantly to all your devices without ever touching the Bluetooth nonsense? Have you tried them? Mm-mm. Oh my God, Molly, I'm so disappointed. I'm gonna. All right, Emmy Watering.
We're not
producer,
going to share yours,
I'm not
obviously.
not a
No,
headphones
for
person.
obvious
Emmy
reasons.
Watering producer Jackie, please take a note. Send Molly a pair of AirPods as a thank you
So
for
she
being
can
on the
get
show
her act
27
together.
times. Will you each upgrade to the 8 or the X/10? Which one will you each upgrade to, and when? And how will you make that
I have to
decision?
It's like
look-
Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah, I have to
'cause
look
you know what's
into
gonna
when
happen.
my 18-month payment plan runs out, because I don't want to overpay for this one.
Right.
So I got to upgrade.
So
But
you're
I
going to
just
wait
don't
for the
know.
upgrade cycle.
I'm gonna wait for my time to be up. Yep.
And then will you go 8 or X?
Oh, it's hard. Probably the X.
You're going to go X.
Probably the X.
And now you're going to go X because it has all these extra features: wireless charging, the screen goes to the border, and it's got the faster processor and better camera. Is that the reason, or because you just don't want to be seen with an 8?
Not so much about what
That's what they've done with the 8
seen
now.
with. Yeah, I think it's all about the camera for me and the photo effects. I mean, I'm not a big Instagram influencer or anything, but I really enjoy making things look pretty.
Yeah. Okay.
I like to travel, so I like having a good camera.
For sure. Okay, Molly, take me through your decision-making process. Will you upgrade before your time in your plan, or you wait and be frugal and then when you do have that, which one will you choose?
I mean, I'm definitely going to wait and be frugal.
Okay.
Because I work in public radio. But also
Right.
because there's just there isn't, even the 10, even as fast and nice and wonderful as it is, and with the screen and whatever,
Yeah.
for one thing, it's probably going to be back ordered until my
Right.
payment contract
Yeah.
is up. So
It's a fair point.
that makes it pretty easy. But no, I mean, for me, the upgrade cycle with the iPhone is sort of like Stockholm Syndrome. I would love for there to be another alternative for me, but there won't be. And this phone will start to crap out right around the time. And that's how I ended up with the 7 Plus, is I was on 6 or a 6 Plus, and it just started to give out. It just started to crap out, and on the perfectly timed schedule that they have. And I was in Montana, and I went into a Verizon store, and I was like, because nobody had the damn phone, so I couldn't even upgrade, even though my 6 Plus was dying. Anyway, all that said, yes, get the 10. It's probably going to have first generation issues and be annoying, but it's sort of like buying all the house you can buy. Like, why would you not get the best one?
Of course. And I think the cameras are going to be the same in the 8 and the X. I'm not sure. I know the facial recognition stuff is in the... Is that in both? Do you know if the facial recognition's in both? Emmy, what am we doing? Sort of
feel like it's in
check that
both.
up. I feel like it's in both. So
It doesn't really matter.
But you made the joke about working for public radio, or whatever. But the truth is, Face ID is X only, to be clear. So if
Right.
you want to have your face recognized, now what do you guys think of that feature? Is that something that the touch, when you use your thumbprint, that's instant? Do you want to sit there and make your face do a big circle in order to unlock your phone? I don't.
Yeah, those features for me are dead on arrival unless they work perfectly every single time.
Which they didn't.
And it failed in the demo.
Yeah.
And
Or
it's
plus,
first
if
generation
somebody
hardware.
Just, takes your phone and points it at you, then
That it could
Yeah.
open.
it could open.
I mean, it can't be the only way into the phone. And I don't, it would have to be pretty, because even the touch is not perfect. It doesn't always work every time. And
No.
it's so, and so.
If it
But
gets
it's
a little
so much
moist,
better
it
than it
doesn't
was in
work.
the beginning,
Yeah.
and that's what I think is going to happen with this. Is like when I had my first touch phone,
Yeah.
it was so
1 out of
useless,
3, yeah.
so
Yeah.
useless. But now it's very, very easy.
It's crisp, yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to probably take time.
Yeah, I like the idea of it being, I want to have the option on my phone to have it be facial recognition, the thumbprint, and put in a 4-digit
Me
PIN.
too. I want all of that.
I want to check off all 3.
Yep.
Because I know these things can be hacked. And this idea that we're going to rely on one thing, like a biometric or your face scan, which I guess is a biometric, it falls in that category, it just feels to me like it's too light, the security. Now, what do you think of the security issues of them having your face and video of your face stored every time? And it's kind of weird, no?
Well, they said they're not going to store it, I think. They sort
Yeah.
of made it a specific point of saying that there would be some security around that. But I think that you're going to see in the coming months a lot more conversation about facial recognition. You're starting to see it already because
Yeah.
it's being, widely used for surveillance and law enforcement. You're starting to see, databases of, Facebook's got an absurdly large
Facebook
database.
already has all that data for your. They can recognize somebody in the corner of a picture.
Yeah.
A
And
few
no one's
steps away, you
really
can tell who it
talking about
is.
that. No one's talking about that database.
And I think this is not going to be as big of an issue for Apple because they don't advertise off the information they have the way that Facebook does, the way that Google might.
There's no financial
all of these
incentive for them.
companies,
Yeah.
all of these companies that are building home assistants are going to have so much more information about you, or at least information on the same level.
Yeah.
And Amazon's starting to get into advertising. It's getting very, very interesting.
Scary. I think it's getting a little bit scary. Any of these systems that can be hacked will be hacked. In fact, one of the companies, I'm an investor in, Butterfly, introduced facial recognition for your home camera. So you open up the app, and you see all the people that your home camera caught, because I have them around the compound, and like we're getting pictures of people. I was like, oh, that's the gardener. Oh, that's the guy who installed the TV. So literally, I clicked on the person who installed the TV, like the AV guy, and I put AV guy and gardener. Now, when somebody comes to the house, if the AV guy comes to the house, I get an alert on my phone. AV guy's in the house. Gardener's
Wow.
in the house.
Wow.
Like, start thinking about that. It's not just like movement or sound. It's like this dog, Taurus, and this dog, Fondue, is in this room.
Right.
I mean, it's really
Well,
powerful.
And then play
Named
that.
the dog fondue.
But play that
yeah, it's one of our
ahead.
dogs, it's Fondue.
That's awesome.
Play that ahead to Jason is on Market Street. You know.
Oh, it's coming.
Sarah is on Taylor. Sarah's
Yeah.
at the WeWork office. I mean, that's all coming. So I think all the conversations about facial mapping and facial recognition, like that conversation just needs to keep happening.
And the facial recognition is so good now. I saw somebody was looking at the Antifa folks in these riots or whatever has been going on.
Yep.
And just generally people who are masked at riots. It's not just an Antifa thing. And they said they can, I don't know what percentage it was, but some very high percentage with a bandana and a hat on, just from the eyes, they had
And
very
filter.
high accuracy. So, I mean, I think you're going to have to wear a full-on mask when you're walking down Market Street going forward. We're all going to just be wearing.
Well, and the data thing, I know I'm prolonging this conversation, but did you see that crazy story about how they trained a machine to recognize from facial characteristics alone, the AI was able to predict someone's sexuality, whether or not they were gay. And they had put in no data set around like, oh, gay people usually look like this or not. But so they had not trained it.
Wait, are you
for-
saying-
Wasn't that there was some dispute of that study?
There was some dispute of the study, yeah. So in the study they released, they said that they were able to be accurate with like 86% of the time with men and some much smaller percentage of the time with women, or relatively smaller. There were questions about the veracity
what they're
Yeah.
saying is
of the
gaydar
data.
is real and AI has it.
But they are suggesting that AI could have gaydar, but also false positives. I mean, so the questions like that machines will be.
That's what
the
I keep
data
telling
that
my
it'll be
wife.
deriving
All these
from your
guys hit
face
on
is
me,
like,
I'm like, this is a mistake. These
Maybe
guys
not.
are just, their gaydar's totally off.
Maybe not.
The gaydar's not off. That is fascinating.
Anyway, it's really interesting, but it also is sort of like, look, if there's even more data that can be derived from facial recognition, whether you wear makeup, I mean, all of that can be used for targeted advertising. Like, it just goes on and on.
We're getting
it goes
to a
on and
skin-
on.
It goes on and on and on, and it's we're getting to the ultimate, which is precognition from Minority Report, which is, can we actually study somebody's behavior online or video, et cetera, and determine if they're going to commit a crime?
Yeah.
It seems to me that somebody who's about to carry out a terrorist activity or shoot up a school, or God forbid, whatever, drive a bus into a crowd, I'm going to guess that they have certain facial characteristics that a computer will be able to pick up on. In other words, if the hijackers from 9/11 all went through and we had AI of just 100,000 people who went through security, and you put the facial characteristics of the 19 hijackers, I bet we could find out some trait amongst them that would make them more likely. So if that's the case,
Right. Just micro expressions, maybe.
we're now
Or
facial
someone
movement.
had a
Yeah, it's
bad
not
day
facial
and they get
characteristics, it's
unnecessarily
movements.
screamed.
Well, and that's the other thing. Exactly. The false positive stuff is just as.
And then the other
noteworthy.
aspect of this, which we're going to talk about later today, is what are the tech companies' responsibility to helping the government solve these issues,
All
right?
Perfect segue, Sarah. You're doing well on your first appearance here, because that is a great teaser before I go to an ad. When we get back, we're going to talk about the responsibility of companies like Facebook and Google. And Facebook is failing hard on their responsibility, refusing to release the advertisements that they ran for essentially the Russians. Okay, hey, let me give a quick thank you to my friend Scott Walker. Walker Corporate Law is a boutique law firm and one of the oldest partners and sponsors of This Week in Startups. They specialize in representing entrepreneurs and startups, and they encourage fixed fees, which means they will not scare you when you get that bill from your attorney every month. You're going to know what you're going to spend ahead of time. Super important for startup companies. They believe billable hours reward inefficiency. And their lawyers all have decades of experience, 10, 20, 30 years. No junior associates learning on the job with your startup. They do things like acquisitions and mergers, licensing, terms of service, privacy policies. And Scott Walker is a true mensch. He comes to all of our events. He's gives tons and tons and tons of his time for free to startups to help them grow. He is passionate about startup companies and entrepreneurs. Give him a call, 415-979-9998, 415. You know is San Francisco, so just remember 979-9998, 979-9998, or email Scott at Walker Corporate Law, Scott at Walker Corporate Law, or visit walkercorporatelaw.com. Thanks again to my friend Scott Walker, who is just a tremendous supporter of startups. Okay, let's talk about the ugliest story of the week, in my mind, or the most troubling on a long-term basis. Facebook, it turns out, allowed Russian operatives to spend $100,000 on pre-election Facebook ads. They refused to release these ads. They were in private testimony in front of the Congress or Senate, I'm not sure which group. There seems to be 4 or 5 groups now interviewing people. It's hard to keep track of who's interviewing who. And in a ProPublica story that came out either last night or this morning, they found it was very easy to buy Facebook ads using hate speech keywords such as Jew haters. Additionally, I talked about this on the program. Can we cue up that video, Jackie, of me talking about it with Kevin Rose a couple of months ago, and I'll play it for you. Here it is.
Then they spent $150 million, $250 million on ads. Where'd the money come from?
Who did?
The Republican Party. Where'd the money come from?
A couple of months ago, and I'll play it.
Nobody knows.
Here it is.
Let's get the money.
No, I get it.
Who knows?
Yeah, it's impossible.
Okay, now, what if the super PAC got their money, in part, through these $10 million, $20 million Russian consulting deals or apartment sales? What if the Russians stole databases of Americans that helped with the targeting at Cambridge Analytica that built a 250 million person database of Americans that's never been collected before?
Do you have anything to back this up, or is this just your Jason Bart analogy?
I have a. I don't mean to get all Alex Jones, but if you look at that series of observations, and then add to that the observation of Zuck, Cheryl, and everybody at Facebook would not pick a side.
They didn't pick a side?
They did not publicly come out for Hillary.
Really?
You cannot find one example of them going out. I'm sure they donated to Hillary. I'm sure they held fundraisers very quietly. They did not publicly go against Trump until after the election. And Zuckerberg just stood up to him over the Paris Climate Exchange, which is kind of the first time he's really stood up to him.
Do you think that's because they kind of have to play the neutral card, being Facebook?
Right. So I think that's exactly right. They probably said, as a platform, we can't be anything but neutral. But then Peter Thiel on the board was more than happy to give $3 million the week after the Trump Access Hollywood tape, where he said he would grab people in a certain way, or women in a certain way. So he had no shame about putting $3 million in. So we know that the money got spent. We know they did it through ads that were dishonest ads. We know it was to suppress a certain vote. Now what we don't know is, what did Zuckerberg know? What did Facebook know about that money and the targeting? And that they let those ads through that were fake. Facebook will not release those ads. They have those ads.
Okay.
I wonder if Congress or whatever.
All right, so there you have it. So basically in that clip in June, I had inside information, or May or June, because I had people have been buzzing around it around Silicon Valley, that Facebook and this Cambrian Analytica. Cambrian Analytica had data on voters. There's speculation that they got some of that data from sources that would be described as Russian operatives. I don't have confirmation of this. But let's say that's a possibility. It seems like it's possible that if the Russians were willing to leak to WikiLeaks all of Hillary Clinton's emails, they might have voter rolls. But even if they don't have voter rolls, if Cambridge Analytica knows that these African-American voters in these states came out for Obama and we suppressed them, we could win those states. And Facebook has to manually review each ad. Anybody who's bought ads on Facebook knows they kick back ads very easily. If you put a higher percentage than 10% of text over your image, they kick it back. If you link to a source, they kick it back. They don't allow porn ads. They don't allow gambling ads. They don't allow dating ads. Facebook has a long list of things that you're not allowed to do, and they manually review every ad. That's why there is a waiting period.
It's not necessarily manual. It's
Yeah.
it's a combination.
Well, they have a first pass, which is what percentage of text is on the screen, and they obviously check links. but then all the other ads, especially a $100,000 ad buy, is manually reviewed. Do you think that they let a $100,000 ad buy go in without looking at it?
Yeah.
No.
Really?
No.
Oh, I think
Everything
they
gets
absolutely
looked at.
did.
They definitely saw these ads.
I think people overestimate the amount of insight Facebook has into the all of the activity that happens on its platform. I mean, $100,000 in the scheme of, what was it, like 30 billion Facebook made from advertising last year, could get lost in the mix.
So you actually think that nobody saw those ads?
Oh,
Or that's possible?
I think it's possible that people saw them, but maybe didn't raise alarm about them like they should have. But
Right.
But I also think it's possible that they kind of fell into the mix of everything else that was happening.
Okay, here we
Yeah,
go.
let's run through this.
Let's just run through this here. Facebook's business page.
On this one.
Before ads show up on Facebook, they're reviewed to make sure they meet our advertising policies. Typically, most ads are reviewed within 24 hours, although in some cases it may take longer. Here are 3 most common reasons why ads don't pass our review. Too much text in an image. The reason they do that is because they don't want you to put something on the image that they can't do a semantic analysis of, right? It's like a little bit of a hack. Age-restricted material. Obviously, they don't want alcohol on there for young people. And then mentioning Facebook is something they don't want you to do because they don't want you to confuse users. After your ad is reviewed, you'll receive an email, blah, blah, blah. So those are the guidelines.
This is a really procedural thing, right?
Right.
You know, when people are going to review these ads, they're looking at those criteria and saying, does it meet these criteria? And if it does, then it's fine. So there are not a lot of, okay, well, maybe I should take an extra step to protect our democracy. I mean, there's not a power of these ad
Right.
reviewers perhaps to do that kind of thing.
But Facebook refuses to release the ads, which to me is the ultimate tell. These ads are going to turn out to be so horrific and so obviously racist, bigoted, and insane that it is going to make them look just so horrible that it will send Zuckerberg on a tour of America to meet with Americans individually in each state to apologize to them. Oh, wait, he's already started that.
Uh-oh, I broke democracy. Now what?
I mean, if you broke democracy like this and you knew those ads, because you know they've seen the ads by now.
Yeah.
If you're Zuckerberg and you saw those ads and it said, and they did specifically ads that were anti-LGBT,
Gun rights,
gun
immigration, race relations,
race.
all these very hot button issues. You know, Jason, what I think is perhaps even more interesting than what the ads say, since we already know it's going to be divisive, horrible stuff, is the targeting.
Yep.
You know, if this was targeted to certain states, do those states align with the targeting that? Well, they were, but are those the same states that campaign wanted to target? If so, how did the information exchange go? How did they know to target certain groups of people? And does that help lend any clarity? And I think that's what the Mueller investigation is trying to get to. What a lot of senators want to know is if there was a sophistication to this effort, where did it come from, and
Cambridge Analytica.
and how did what we need
Sure.
to.
I mean, we can assume that Facebook, used its vast treasure troves of data and its really good algorithms when it comes to targeting to direct these ads where the ad buyers requested them to go. I think it's the lack of transparency around how all of that works that makes it confusing. We actually you cannot tell from that page, right? Whether
Basic guidelines.
I think we should assume that in most cases robots are taking these orders, scanning these ads, and then sending them where they're supposed to be. That is absolutely what the ProPublica the investigation just found, and Google did the same.
Facebook's advertising business, a lot of it
It's
is a
huge.
self-serve
They can't even keep track
business.
of it.
So a lot of people have asked me, like, well, who's the salesperson at Facebook that approved this buy, right?
There's no person.
Well,
It's a
In a lot of
machine.
cases, there are
In a
people,
lot-
though.
in a lot of cases,
I can
there
tell
are-
you for sure because we spend money on Facebook and Google and have, and many of my startups
Right.
do,
Yeah.
and they have reps there. And
Right,
the
but that
reps
doesn't
will email
necessarily
you
need to
week
be.
after week after week. If you spend over 5 figures, you will have a rep, and that rep will email you constantly to get you to spend more. So in this case, you're wrong.
But we also don't
I know
know.
from a fact that you spend over that amount of money, you have a rep.
Well, yeah, but what we
For
know
sure.
is that they spent $100,000 on ads. We don't know if they spent them in $10,000 chunks.
Oh, they
or
could have spent them in
$20 chunks,
or 5,000 across 20 accounts.
5,000 across
Well,
20
it's the
accounts.
Or if they spent
420
100
fake
million.
accounts and pages, right?
Most likely, they went through. They used a version
those
of
pages were paying to promote those people.
Right. I mean, most
Those fake
likely.
people.
So in this
it's sort of
case-
like not carrying $10,000 in cash, right? Like
Right.
most likely they went $999.99 so that they could evade
fly
that detection.
underneath the radar.
If
And
they
then-
wanted to fly under the radar. they
And
could.
BuzzFeed ran, essentially the same experiment on Google today, on Google's ad platform, to see if they could also buy hateful ads. And not only could
How'd
they,
that work?
but the AI suggested even more hateful ads. I mean, they were able to.
Well, so did Facebook's. Yeah,
like, putting- and
if
so
you
did
want to
Facebook's.
target, Jew haters, you might also want to target people who,
We
follow
notice-
Also don't
Hitler.
like
We
African
notice
Americans.
you hate Jews.
Right.
What do you think of the blacks?
Here's some other people
and
you might hate.
Hispanics.
The-
hate them too?
And so the real question is, like, does Facebook have any control? Of
course
at
they
what
do.
point? No, I mean, look, we've seen Facebook be pretty sloppy with its metrics and with its own. I mean, at some
I was actually
point,
very.
You're telling me the smartest kids in the room are sloppy? Come on.
I was very surprised.
the guys who
by
keep miscounting
the-
metrics and having to give back money on video ads, and those guys,
You think that's a mistake?
I think when a system becomes sufficiently complex, it is impossible to know everything that's happening within that system.
I don't
And,
think it's a
Facebook
mistake. Keep going.
has historically been very reactionary about these things, and they deal with them once people point them out, whether they knew about them already or not. Of course, they imply that they didn't. But we've seen a lot of patterns like this. I mean, remember last year the trending topics debacle,
Yeah.
right? Where Facebook was like, oh, well, of course there's no bias in that. But then they,
Then there was.
removed the
They were wrong about
widget, and,
that.
and they worked. They had invited conservative leaders to come to Facebook to assuage their concerns. What I thought was really interesting was that last night the move that Facebook took to address this concern about being able to target Jew haters, for example, on their platform, is they blocked any targeting by job title or education, anything that people self-report. So that's actually really significant for Facebook's ad operation. Now you can't target Ivy League grads who play violin anymore because of...
I have a feeling that's an easy concession for them to make. I think they want to know geography and age and interest. I think the college thing, probably people don't use that often because whether you went to college or not, most of the advertisers want to hit a certain demographic in a certain geographic location who like a certain thing.
True,
Do
but-
you think,
I think
let
there's.
me ask this question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Do you think it should be allowed for people to target by race on these networks? i.e., should you be able to target, don't answer yet, should you be able to target Hispanics versus blacks, even if they self-report this is who they are? Do you think these networks should be allowed to target by race when we get back on This Week in Startups? Ooh.
You stinker.
Oh, wait a second. I have to read the ad. Sorry about that. I thought we were cutting to an ad. Hey, everybody. Let me just tell you how much I love WordPress. Matt Mullingweg. I've known him for, well over 10 years, and he has built what is the largest and greatest content management on the internet. 28% of all internet websites run on WordPress. It's by far the web's most popular and most powerful website building platform. That's why I use it for calacanis.com and why we use it here for thisweekinstartups.com. If you're looking to create a personal blog or a business site or both, you can create that at wordpress.com, and you will help people remember you, connect with you, follow you. You don't need any experience. You don't need to hire someone. That's a misnomer. You can go and just go to wordpress.com, and they will guide you through the entire process. They have hundreds of beautiful designs to choose from, built-in search engine optimization, social sharing, and every plan includes a free custom domain name. Business plans let you access hundreds of plugins and themes. There's a big developer community that supports WordPress. They're always adding new functionality, and you have access to expert-friendly support. So go ahead and visit WordPress.com. It is what I use for calacanis.com and thisweekinstartups.com. That's all you need to do. Here's your call to action. You'll get 15% off of any new purchase plan. Just go to wordpress.com/twist, wordpress.com/twist, and create your website and find the perfect plan for you. That's wordpress.com/twist for 15% off your brand new website. Getting good at reading the ads. At NPR, you guys don't read the ads, right? American radio, you're not allowed to read the ads?
We do not read the ads, although we do in our podcast. It's sort of, that's like a slightly different underwriting arrangement.
Interesting. So this has become a really interesting thing. Kara Swisher reads the ads.
No one ever used to, ever.
That was like when we were coming up.
Yeah. I mean, that was like the one thing.
Remember the 90s? It was like, you do not touch the ads.
don't touch the ads.
Now you have journalists, top journalists, me, you, Kara, well, I'm not a journalist anymore, reading the ads.
I can tell you, though, that there are lines. Like, I've been in podcast recordings with Kai where he's like, I am not going to read this because I am not a pimp. And then we don't read that.
Kai's like, I am
Hopefully
wearing...
Kai's not watching right now. He's like, oh, come on.
Hi, I'm Kai Rizdal, and I am wearing Mack Weldon underwear right now, and I can tell you it's fitting me snug as a rug, and that's about as far as I can go. All right, take us to the performance, Molly. What do we got? Is that a good Kai Rizdal?
It's not great.
It's not great.
not
Give me your
great.
Kai Rizdal. Yours is good. Give me a little Kai Rizdal.
I can't do that. What if he's watching?
Okay, nobody's looking. Go ahead, do your Kai Rizdal. You got a
Nobody's
little-
looking. How many
nobody's-
people are watching us on Twitter live right
Just
now?
like 200. Don't worry about it. You got a little Kai Rizdal.
In Los Angeles, I'm Kai Rizdal.
Kai.
Yeah,
You got
totally.
Kai. You got to bring in that
S&P
Kai 500.
500.
Yeah, you got to bring in that Kai Rizdal for the
Kai Rizdal.
500. The NASDAQ.
He's a world-class broadcaster, you guys. I have nothing
It's
but love and
almost like
respect. Nothing but
country.
love.
He's almost got like a country
He's a
twang.
little twang, yeah.
He got a little twang in him.
I know.
That's
many,
interesting.
Many influences are happening.
Looking at the S&P one. We can do this all day.
you just went
Poor
full
Sarah's.
on. You went full Texas.
Full
I'm wearing
Texas.
my Fry's boots.
Okay.
How appropriate.
All right. When I left our amazing panel, Sarah and Molly, Sarah, of course, is Sarah Frier, F-R-I-E-R, and she is at Bloomberg News. You can follow them at Business, and Molly Wood is the host now of Marketplace Tech. Hey, somebody left Marketplace Tech, and now it's all you.
Yeah, Ben Johnson
Congratulations.
left Marketplace Tech. Thank you.
Yes.
It is very exciting. I'm the host of my own national radio show. I have to tell myself that a lot because I work from home. So pretty much like my kid and my dog still boss me around and I'm in my jammies all the time. So once in a while I'm like, nope, turns out that's a big deal.
It keeps happening to you. Like, you just keep working, and then just like one crazy opportunity after another is where your hard work is paying off. Okay.
Thanks, man.
When we left, I was talking a little bit about targeting. I've heard many different arguments about targeting people by race or ethnicity. I don't know what the political... Can you say race, ethnicity? What's a politically correct word today?
I don't know.
Wish they would just give me a
Just say them
snowflake
both.
Bible. Can I get a snowflake style guide? Jackie, is there a snowflake style guide
I'm
so
sure
I can
that there
stop
is.
triggering people?
I'm sure that exists.
Because I kept saying the third world. That's triggering.
Oh, and now we have to say developing countries.
Emerging markets.
Emerging markets. For God's sake.
Jeez.
I missed a whole, like, a level.
Molly, I'm really disappointed.
I know. I
your microaggressions.
look for my medium apology.
You're me.
post
I would
later
like
this
to
afternoon.
apologize for the
Sorry if there's
micro
anyone
I'm sorry I'm sorry to anyone I may have inadvertently offended
by using the term third world.
by using the term. No, I said developing nations, which
Still-
apparently is
still.
emerging markets.
It's emerging markets. Still very, very microaggressive of you. Should you be able to target Facebook ads or other ads by race and ethnicity?
Yes.
Yes.
I think there are a lot of good reasons to target by race
If
or
it's hair products or
ethnicity.
makeup or
Well, right. If makeup's one category, but what if there's like a scholarship for certain people, or what if there's resources? I mean, obviously, the problem is that these systems are all automated. And so nobody's making sure that, as ProPublica put out in an earlier story this year, that there were real estate listings where you could exclude Black people from seeing those listings, right? You obviously don't want that.
Whoa.
you can't
Hold on a
violate
second.
the
Say
Fair
that
Housing
one more
Act.
time.
Did you not see that? That was so.
That
Whoa,
was
hold on a
one.
second. Say that one more time. Explain to me the story, because I did not catch this story.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
This
yes.
is another great ProPublica story on Facebook ads where they found that you could exclude certain ethnicities from seeing
Real estate listing.
real estate listings.
But in that case, so here's the thing. That is a violation of the Fair Housing Act. There is
Right.
a law
Right.
against that.
Sure.
So it's not necessarily about targeting by race. If we're going to allow targeting, you have to allow targeting by race because that is an important marketing category. However, I think the real question about Facebook is, are we at an unprecedented point in Facebook's reach? Right? It's
Yes.
not. It doesn't matter if it's some platform that nobody's on. This is
At
one
over
in
2
six.
billion users, I'm going to go ahead and say yes.
Right. When we're talking about 1 in 6 human beings on Earth then we may have to
More
take this
than half
conversation.
the internet-connected population
Right.
in the world.
Well, it's 2.1
And so
of
then-
3.3. So, and
So
then
then at
that's
what
not
point
counting
does-
WhatsApp. It's not counting Instagram. So I think
Right.
it's probably closer to 3 billion of the I would say 2.8 billion of 3.3 billion people online are on one of Facebook's
Yeah.
platforms.
So then, do we have to have a different conversation about how Facebook operates? Is its
Yes.
business model a potential threat to national security? Do
Obviously.
they need to be regulated in a way that no company maybe ever has been?
Obviously.
And with
Except,
these election
AT&T
ads-
is regulated like this. Like they may have to
But
fall
the
into
law-
utility
the law
category.
is very outdated with these election ads.
Yes.
If you advertise, if you advertise for an election on TV, you have to submit that ad. You have to say exactly who paid for it. You have to say who you showed it to, in what markets. That is so different than the rules for Facebook. Basically, Facebook doesn't have any election transparency rules. And you mentioned dark posting earlier. I mean, that's
Explain to what people
that's
dark
not
ads are.
really the term that Facebook uses. They
Well,
call
that's
them
what we should use.
unpublished page posts.
Yeah, please. They're dark ads. Let's call it what it is.
What it allows you to do is target people differently based on how you feel like the ad would resonate with them versus somebody else. That allows you to do some A/B testing.
Or perhaps that the ad is so nefarious and ugly and disgusting that you don't want certain people to see it because they would screenshot it and say, oh my effing God, who on earth would allow an ad like this to run?
That's a side symptom of I feel like when Facebook releases products, sometimes they think about them in the most optimistic terms. For example, live video. Grandmothers can finally see their grandchildren's first steps without having to be in the same state, right? That's a very powerful thing. Unfortunately, you can also see people get murdered live.
Yep.
It's literally with
It's-
natural born killers. I mean, I don't know if you remember the natural born killers
Yeah.
premise, but essentially Robert Downey Jr. plays like a 60 Minutes, or not even like a more like a Access Hollywood type reporter who then gets hijacked to like live stream, essentially live satellite feed it. All right, listen.
The naivete is stunning. Well, the naivete is necessary to continue the business model.
Well, and this is where, well, that's an astute point. You cannot take the smartest kids in the class, put them in charge of all this, and then forgive them when it goes awry. These are the smartest people on the planet who built. They are. I mean, they may be fabulously naive and clueless at other times and socially awkward, but these are really smart people. I know them. These are people who would be in the top 10% of IQ test results. You can debate IQ test results all you want, but you can't debate that they're not in the top 10%. They hire based on this. They hire based on how smart people are, literally. So they're the smartest people in the world. They know the ramifications of what they're doing, and they specifically at Facebook do whatever it takes to grow the business independent of the impact on society.
Yep.
We saw it when they created groups, and they allowed anybody to add anybody to a group, and then some gay choir in Middle America, the person who was running it added everybody to the gay choir who were in college. You know what happened? About half of them hadn't come out to their families yet,
Yep.
and it posted on their wall, Jason's in the gay choir, and their parents are like, what? Why would Jason be in a gay choir? And it's like, oh, we have to have a really important discussion at Christmas. And you know what? People kill themselves over this kind of stuff. They, at Facebook, have a 20-year audit with the FTC for a reason. They're irresponsible. And now, with great power of 3 billion people or whatever they've got, it's time for Facebook to grow up and stop behaving the way, Sarah, you point out, which is, let's be optimistic. I don't think they're optimistic. I think that they're marauding capitalists who want the thing to keep growing. It has nothing to do with optimism. It's everything to do with share price. And if you're at Facebook, you should be ashamed of yourself. And this is a message to whoever has access to those ads at Facebook. It is your moral and ethical duty, in some people's opinion. Did you guys catch that disclaimer?
In some people's opinion.
In some people's opinion. You see
Yeah.
that? That's not me saying it. In some people's opinion, it is the moral, ethical, what?
Responsibility.
Responsibility. Thank you, Molly. It is your moral, this is what some people say, not Molly or me or Sarah, but some people say it is the moral responsibility, the ethical responsibility, the right thing to do for the Facebook employees who have access to these ads to leak them, specifically to Sarah and Molly. If you hear my voice right now and you work at Facebook or you did work at Facebook, there are some people not anybody in this room or on this podcast who's ever been here or who knows me, who believe that you should leak them right now to sarah.frier@bloomberg.com. What's your email?
sfrier1@bloomberg.net.
sfrier1@bloomberg.net and Molly Wood at?
mwood@marketplace.org.
And mwood at Marketplace.
If you were so inclined.
If you were so inclined to leak these things and be a hero, you should leak these ads. And then Facebook, I will tell you right now, this is a message to Mark Zuckerberg. You are a complete and utter phony and do not deserve the responsibility of Facebook if you do not release those ads. It is unethical and it is immoral for you not to release the ads that could have compromised the democracy of the United States, which gave you the opportunity to become worth $50 billion, and for you to go out on a campaign across America to try to be more loved so that you can get political office while you allowed name a marginalized group ads on your platform and then refuse to let them be seen by the American people while letting them be seen by the racist, horrible human beings who would be attracted to those ads. You need to have your head examined, and you are not fit for office, young man. I don't mean to get all worked up about it, but I am infuriated, not by the mistake. Sarah, you give them credit that maybe it was a mistake, maybe they didn't see them. Great, fine, give them the benefit of the doubt. But to not release them at this point in time, when the democracy is on the line, and it's a whole nother thing to be a total coward, Mark, and not come out against Trump, and to invite all these right-wing lunatics over your office and kowtow towards them so you don't marginalize, you don't lose anybody in your platform. Fine, I understand. You're a marauding capitalist. You want Facebook to be for everybody. But to then not release these ads that compromised our democracy while having Peter Thiel on your board, who donated millions to Trump after he said he assaulted women, come on. What do you guys think of that?
What do you think about Google? Where's Google sit in all this? Where does any company that's
Well,
Google's
I'll go
taking
down the
same
line
kind
with
of
them, but
ads.
I don't know if anybody else ran ads like this for the Russians. And I don't know if they let you target by, I know for a fact Google doesn't let you target by race. Google does let you target by keyword.
Yeah.
And as they find keywords that are inappropriate, they take them out. Which is
Let's talk a little bit about how Facebook's thinking has evolved here, because clearly they're not at the stage of accepting full responsibility for everything. But last year they were saying, "Oh, we're just a platform. Whatever happens in society also happens on Facebook because we're just the place where people talk." That's just how the internet is, right? And that's the same argument that Reddit's given. We're just the place where humanity happens, and we connect people, and people are sometimes bad people, but they're bad on Facebook, but that has sort of changed as Zuckerberg saw a lot of the isolationism and polarization politically last year. He actually went and wrote this big manifesto. Internally, they call it Mark's Letter, where he outlined how he feels the platform should be used differently. And I do think he's attempting to understand Facebook's effect on society. And I think he's been maybe even surprised because he's been I think the company has been naive about the negative effects of what they've done.
I think it's completely ridiculous that he would be surprised when he said that an election could not be swung by the internet, and he laughed about that, and everybody in Facebook pulled him aside and was like, you can't say that Facebook is the perfect advertising medium for selling everything on the planet and the perfect place to start a group. And then at the same time say, but for one thing, elections, it doesn't work.
No, they don't say it doesn't work for elections.
He did, though. He did say that.
Right, he did.
And he backtracked that
right away, because Facebook has a political advertising sales pitch that says, you can
they said Facebook
you can target Hispanics in Florida and get them to change their opinion. They have case studies.
Yeah, and they have case studies of switching people's votes, and they sent, according to this woman who wrote Trump's tweets. Did you see that video? There's a woman who did Trump's tweets and everything, and they worked directly for the campaign. They said Facebook was at their offices. That Facebook reps were at their offices helping them craft messages. Mm-hmm. So
I mean, there's no question that there is a deliberate naivete that in some ways Facebook, this story is the natural result of marauding capitalism when the product also is built essentially on profoundly understanding the science of human addiction. You know, make sure that no one ever wants to get off your product.
Yeah.
Make sure that they
all
want to
about
spend their
engagement.
entire lives
Yeah.
there, that they're constantly engaged, that all their friends are there, all their family is there, all their photos are there, everything they ever want to do is there, and then sell a bunch of ads against them. It is almost, and by the way, just be a monopolistic beast of buying every competitor and, you know, and engaging people more and more with more addictive behaviors. It shouldn't even really be a surprise that at that point that influence would be so strong. I don't think that it necessarily makes Mark Zuckerberg a bad human to be that kind of a capitalist. It's like that's what kind of capitalist everybody wants to be, right?
No.
I mean, I think
don't
now
know.
I think it's inexcusable to at some point then stand up and say I have no responsibility for this.
That's the issue
I think
have.
that's
And I'm
what
not sure that's
is
where
really
he
grating
still
on
is.
people, because when he goes to these different states and meets with people and has these conversations and then says, he has a post that says, you know, I feel like there's a lot of tension in our society over this issue.
Yeah, how could that ever happen?
He doesn't really say, well, and this is amplified on Facebook and
No responsibility.
There's
he
never
takes
any-
zero responsibility.
And it's like when he goes out on this weird listening tour, it's as though he's trying to understand these odd humans. I mean, it just feels it comes from this place of roboticism and an unwillingness to accept the responsibility for the thing that he built, the Frankenstein monster that he built that is now
Right.
pretty out of control.
He should really just say, listen.
But he's
this-
never going to. Facebook needs to get regulated. Like this is
Yeah,
not.
I think that's
they're not going to
exactly
regulate
right.
themselves.
Facebook has shown itself to be untrustworthy so many times. Zuckerberg has personally shown himself to be untrustworthy with a huge swath of lawsuits in his younger years. I don't care how many cows he milks in these photos
Right.
and how many photo ops he has. It does not take away from the fact that if you look at the early history of Facebook, it was built off of lawsuits and him screwing people over and over and over again, from the Winklevi to Eduardo to all of his partners. Fine. You want to be a hardcore capitalist with sharp elbows, that's fine. But then when you have 3 billion people, just take ownership of it and tell people, we screwed up. We allowed people to target ads in a way we didn't expect, or we should have read the ads more fine-tunedly. And we are going to make the following changes to the platform.
So when you see Zuckerberg talk on issues that he does seem to be very passionate about, like DACA, for example, you know, he's in his first week of paternity leave, responding to commenters in the middle of the night. Yeah. Do you think that that's insincere, or do you think that he's just a nuanced person that?
Listen, I haven't hung out. I've only hung out with Mark Zuckerberg 3 times maybe in my life, and it was all during the first 3 or 4 years. You know, so I don't know what Mark Zuckerberg at this age with 2 kids is like. People mature, so I'm sure he's matured phenomenally, and I would take him at his word that he believes that DACA, you know, is unbelievably cruel and insane to take a person who came here at 1 or 2 years old, 3 years old, and then kick them out when it wasn't even their choice to come here and destroy their lives. So I believe that, but I believe that he is not run Facebook in a way that is commensurate with the power and responsibility that he now has, which means if put in charge of the United States or California as governor, he has not behaved in an ethical and moral manner that would make me want to vote for him. And until you take ownership.
You believe that he's running
Of course he is.
eventually.
Of course he is. Why would he collude with Mark Andreessen to manipulate other board members secretly? You know about this lawsuit.
Oh, I wrote that story.
You wrote that story. So, thank you. Explain to people the collusion of Mark Zuckerberg and Mark Andreessen to try to manipulate and trick other board members. Explain to the American public listening what happened there.
So
More powerful
basically,
coming from you because people think I'm a Zuckerberg hater.
So Zuckerberg has he's wanted to do this reclassification of Facebook's stock so that he's able to basically they're going to turn some shares that currently have voting power into a set that have voting power and a set that don't. And what that's going to allow Zuckerberg to do is sell shares without losing any voting control. And as part of this whole reclassification of Facebook stock to give Zuckerberg power over the company in perpetuity, they sort of looked over the founder agreement again and made some adjustments. And one of the adjustments that they made was allowing Zuckerberg to hold public office while still maintaining his control of Facebook.
Wow.
I mean, this is setting aside Mark
Which
Zuckerberg,
was a sticking
the person.
point in the board committee. And then the Andreessen portion of this. Andreessen was on the committee
Of three people.
Within the board that was supposed to represent shareholder interests in the negotiations with Zuckerberg over the revised founder agreement.
So Mark
behind the
Zuckerberg's
scenes, he's
fiduciary
texting
responsibility was to the shareholders of Facebook, which include pensions and the American people, and Mark Andreessen on this committee put aside his fiduciary responsibility to those pension funds and shareholders who have their retirements and savings in Facebook stock and was SMSing with Mark
to try to coach him on how exactly to convince the committee that Andreessen was on that his changes were okay.
So Mark Andreessen, would you consider this, I mean, it's obviously a breach of fiduciary responsibility, correct?
It's going to trial at the end of this month. Zuckerberg is expected to take the stand on September 26th to defend this.
How is this in any way defensible, Molly? What defense could there possibly be for Mark Andreessen and Mark Zuckerberg to be SMSing with each other when they're on a committee to determine the future of the company and be manipulating the other two board members? Is there any defense of this that you can think of? I cannot.
I would have to read a lot more about it to try to mount, because this is the first I'm hearing of it. But I will say that, again, all of this, setting aside Mark Zuckerberg, the person, is the natural consequence of out-of-control capitalism. I mean, look, it's not, Facebook is the company we're talking about now. In the past, we've talked about Microsoft and Bill Gates and his behavior. Before that, maybe we talked about Ma Bell. Before that, there were robber barons and this and that, right? Like, the question is, should businessmen be in charge? He has such an inflated sense of himself, clearly. Right. I have solved all of these problems to make Facebook into one of the biggest companies in the world. So clearly, I am capable of solving societal problems too. Like, we just shouldn't buy that.
The solution to Facebook's maybe the issues that Facebook has caused, the solution to that is more Facebook.
Right. More Facebook and more Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, that's, at the end of the day, it is just the arrogance of the tycoon all over again.
Yeah.
But in a less abrasive package, in this case. And it's just not, that's not how our government should be run. And then when companies get too big, they should be they are historically regulated and or broken up. And I think what we're seeing now is that Facebook is too big. Like, forget about Mark's ego, which is clearly a whole other, probably foundationally the topic. Facebook is too big and has too much power.
Do you agree, Sarah, that Facebook is too big, has too much power, and should be regulated, as Molly does?
Well, I cover the company, so I hear both sides of this all the time.
Take us through. Take instead of just your personal opinion, take us through the best argument on either side, and then tell us your personal opinion as a human being.
You want to get me in trouble?
No, we're allowed to have opinions. It's 2017. Journalists can have opinions.
So I think on one side, it's that the company feels that they're a reflection of society, like I said earlier, and that okay, if what they've done has caused these problems, maybe they can find a solution and make it easier for people to have empathy for each other. I mean, that's the company's argument for this new mission statement that they introduced this year. They're changing it from connecting the world, because that didn't get to the conclusion that Zuckerberg wanted, to bringing people closer together, which is more about connecting us to each other. And then
empathy.
What?
Empathy, warmth.
Empathy, warmth. But that has a whole other layer to it, which people just are not talking about, which is that in order to create this empathy across different cultures and understandings and political views,
genders, races,
geographies, Facebook wants to bring people into your life that you wouldn't know in your day to day.
They want to break the echo chamber that has increased engagement.
Well, they want to. So Zuckerberg was meeting in Dayton, Ohio, with some drug addicts, and they told him that it would have been easier for them to recover if they had had more non-addict friends. Mm-hmm. And so Zuckerberg took that experience and then another experience he had at a detention center and said, well, what if we could introduce people to people they should know, not just the people you may know on Facebook, the people you should know.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting solution, but what it requires is an extremely intimate knowledge of your life, not just your life, but your problems and what you need. It's like sort of crafting the future of your social life. It's
getting back to that precog, like we know what you need that you don't know you need.
And think of the presumptiveness required to believe that Facebook has the power to offer that solution in your life.
Yeah,
that it's okay for them to get all of that information because they have the power to make you not a drug addict.
Personal coach. It's like, Molly, these are the problems with you, and here are the people that you should hang out with to make you a better person.
Even more than that, I'm the one who can fix it. I mean, this is literally Mark Zuckerberg saying, I and Facebook are the ones who can fix all of this. Yeah. And that is a kind of a scary megalomaniacal viewpoint to be coming when you really break it down, the presumptiveness.
That is
megalomaniacal. So that's just to say that that Facebook, the intricacy with which they understand their users' lives, they're hoping to get a lot more in depth with it. That the kind of integration of Facebook we've seen into our lives is only going to get more so as they introduce something like my colleague Mark and I reported earlier this year that they're coming out with a video chat device for your home that will also have personal assistant attributes that they're going to try to introduce next year. A lot of people I've talked to said they could not imagine having Facebook
in
their house.
No way.
Right?
You would be.
They're asking for people's
credit.
And when you see the donation options on Facebook right now, it's a very big initiative. Donate to the Red Cross. Then now Facebook has your credit card number, and in the future it'll make it easier for you to make purchases through your business spots on Messenger or on Marketplace. Right? This is all becoming like you said, every aspect of your life. And all the companies want to do this, by the way. Yeah. So it's not just Facebook, but they want to understand all the points at which they can interact with you and then ultimately build up their artificial intelligence capabilities. So I guess to answer your question, I'm not sure what the regulation response is to this, but
Should there just be one? Should there be some regulation?
I do think that Facebook is getting a lot more, has plans to get even more involved in the fabric of society than we've currently seen.
Sounds like you're leaning towards yes.
I don't know what that would look like. I mean, a
regulation as in we are going to, you cannot target people based on gender/race anymore.
I don't think that's the regulation I'm talking about.
What regulation do you think? I mean, that's just like an example, but some sort of regulation.
So there's a couple questions. One is there a point at which Facebook crosses over from a regular company to something like a Comcast, where it's an actual utility provider? Right. Where it is where you can make argument. Right, and it's not. Well, this is a weird position to be in at this exact moment.
He's not wrong.
He's not totally wrong on that.
No,
I mean there's an argument, and Facebook's goal is to essentially Facebook's goal is essentially to supplant the World Wide Web, right? To be the access point for our networked lives. And so that's a reasonable conversation to have is that now there's a layer of regulation that could exist in this country to protect us that would affect Facebook, like data gathering and storage requirements, which we currently do not have on the federal level.
They shouldn't be able to hold any, this is what I think. I'm going to sum it up here so we can move on to the next horrible story in this week in horrible tech behavior. All right, Jason's law. Number one, any dark ads All ads on Facebook must be transparent and must be publicly listed at ads.facebook.com. And all ads that you see must have underneath them, this ad was targeted at, and the 5 ways they were targeted. So underneath it, in light gray, this ad was targeted at women in Florida between the ages of 18 and 25. If you're going to target me, I deserve to know. That's number 1. Number 2, all ad copy must be stored and shared and freely available to anybody in a searchable database. So if I want to see ads targeted at African Americans in a swing state, I can just type African Americans aged 35 to 60 with college degrees and show me all the ads that were done.
This
All
should just be a
ads.
this could be a requirement for everything. I mean, I could see this applied broadly being
Yes,
freaking great for the
Jason's
online advertising
law.
industry.
This would be Jason's bill. Finally, I get a bill in Congress. Do it. So all dark ads have to be listed. All targeting has to be listed underneath the ad. Cannot be hidden anywhere else. And here's the other shoe that's going to drop. I'm going to give 2 more shoes that can be dropped. By the way, you 2 guys have been great guests today. Like really good guests. Like knowledge plus opinion. I love it. So let me just once again thank Molly Wood at Molly Wood on Twitter and Sarah Frier, SARAHFRIER from @Business, also known as Bloomberg News. Here are 2 shoes that are going to drop. You guys can take these and run with them if you're so inclined. Number 1, Facebook may or may not be in a lawsuit with people who used Facebook Connect to grow their startup, who were then baited and switched and kicked off of the Facebook Connect platform after their data was studied and the features of their product and the granularity in which they studied user behavior were used to create a competing Facebook product. In other words, when Paul Graham invited Facebook to come to Y Combinator a couple years back, and I said anybody who is a startup who allows Facebook to come to their incubator is out of their fucking mind. Sorry, didn't mean to curse. Fracking. Bleep that out, please. 65 minutes in. First F-bomb. If they did that, and they bait and switched people, number 1, bad on you for being a founder who's so naive that you would let the fox into the henhouse. But essentially what's happened now is the fox has carried the henhouse into the fox den. They literally convinced the world to use Facebook Connect, studied the data of their own partners, and then used granular data from users to kill those companies by targeting ads to their own users. A company called House Party, you may have heard of, had this done to them and caught Facebook doing it. What if this was an explicit program? In other words, Facebook said from the beginning, let's let these idiots use Facebook Connect to have access to the social graph, study them and kill them and incorporate their features, which has now happened to Snapchat. It happened to one of my investments, Gowalla, and Dave Morin's Path, and many, many others. That's shoe number 1. You guys can take that and run with that if you want, or if there's other journalists listening. I'm not saying that I have any inside information. I'm not saying I don't have inside information. But what if? That's a what if. I'm pretty good at the disclaimers. What if this happened?
Many people are saying.
Many people are saying. Many people are saying. Many people could be saying. Many people
Even better.
might have said. People might have speculated that people said. I can triple up these disclaimers. All right, here's your second one. What if the Russians stole, not broke into voting machines, pretty hard to do. I mean, you could try, but you're only going to hit like whatever number of places, right? They obviously try, but it's fragmented, so that's kind of a good thing. You know, there's no single point of failure in the voting system because everybody does it differently. Some people are punching chads, other people are mailing things in. It's kind of hard. There's no single point of failure. But what if they stole Democratic, they got Hillary's emails, but what if they had all the Democratic donors? What if they had all the Democratic voters? What if they had all the data from the DNC? or from other voting rolls even, of who voted for who. What if they took that data and there was some incredibly powerful company that understood how Facebook worked? And what if the person who was on the board of Facebook was a Trump supporter who had given him millions of dollars and ran a company that provides intelligence to the United States government called Palantir, and then that money was then used by the company that that person is on the board of to spend the ads that we were talking about earlier? What if the Russians hacked the demographics? The demographics were correlated by some clever company we had all never heard about before this called Cambridge Analytica. What if that hacked data was then used, money that Peter Thiel got from investing in Facebook, and Peter Thiel intimately knows how Facebook works, and Cambridge Analytica and maybe Palantir even were involved somehow in this? What if those things happened? Some people have told me that other people may have discussed other people speculating about this. It sounds like a conspiracy theory, doesn't it?
Uh-huh.
But as we're seeing, as the cards turn over, conspiracy theories are just facts that have yet to be uncovered in some cases. I've heard other people say that. On The X-Files, it was a great TV show. You should go check it out. It was incredible. All right.
That was mesmerizing. I mean, I was mesmerized. I don't think I was breathing the whole time.
I like want to know what's next.
So listen, I'm not a journalist anymore, nor do I have the time to be an investigative journalist, which means I am privy to a lot of inside information.
Right.
No inside information was used in what I just discussed. I had something in my eye. I had something in my eye. The makeup got in my eye. However, these could be things that could have occurred, maybe, possibly, who knows. All right.
Possibilities are endless.
The possibilities, in fact, are endless. Let's check. The 500.
I got nothing, man.
Hey, Nestle bought Blue
Let's do the
Bottle.
numbers.
Let's do the numbers. Nestle has bought Blue Bottle for $700 million. Anybody care? Except hipsters here.
Yeah, I only care in the like, oh, another craft beer maker goes down kind of way.
Yeah, it's like that.
Yep.
I mean, Blue Bottle was already
inevitable.
pretty expansive.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Good job, Chris Michael.
Yeah,
I
good
know.
job.
You know, I know a guy.
I know Tony Conrad invested a ton of money from True Ventures in this, got laughed at by every other venture capitalist for investing in a coffee company. They were like, you dope.
I mean, Blue Bottle did everything right. If you really look at it, it was just
Honestly,
brilliant marketing. It was actually good coffee. Like
the coffee is good.
Coffee's good.
I get those beans. You open that pack, that 12-ounce pack that you paid equivalently 30 ounces for.
I'm all about the New Orleans iced.
Oh, it's ridiculous with the
It's
chicory.
just
in it.
those
good.
little like special, just
Honestly,
those
but
special
here,
things.
let me give you a pro tip.
Yeah.
Tip coming up.
Okay, lay it on me.
The original chicory coffee is from Café du Monde.
Yeah, of course.
Pull up a picture of the Café du Monde in the can on Amazon, please. I'm your watering producer, Jackie. Throw that up on the screen. Café du Monde comes in cans. It's chicory coffee. The New Orleans coffee is just chicory.
Yeah.
Chicory is bark. Bark, in the Civil War, they used to put bark into the coffee to make the coffee last twice as long. People got addicted to the flavor of it. I'm addicted to it. So now I make Café du Monde in this little bottle here, $6.70 for a pound. You know why it's so cheap per pound? Because half of it's bark. So they're selling you for $4.50, 8 ounces. The goddamn pound costs less than the 1 cup you buy.
See, they did
Listen to
everything right.
JCal. Go now, everybody. I'm not sponsored by Café du Monde. If they would like to buy a 10-ad run, I will sell so much Café du Monde the world has never seen. It's going to be huge, all right? Café du Monde is amazing. Amazing coffee. It's greatest. Hardworking.
And then I could have New Orleans iced at home.
And you make it, and no, you drink it warm. And then whatever you don't drink, you put in the refrigerator.
Yep.
You put 2 cups of sugar, you put 2 spoonfuls of sugar, you put a little heavy cream in it, and now you've got the same exact thing. That's what I do. I save my money. I'm cheap. Sarah, you talked a little bit about influencers and how social media companies are making money off them or don't. Mm-hmm. Explain to us all what's happening on Instagram, because people are advertising 7 things at once. There's a whole new category of Insta models and Insta celebrities. But Instagram supposedly now is onto this and prioritizing, ghosting people who put ads in it? What's going on?
No.
This is the rumor I'm hearing. This could be haters.
That would be amazing, but no.
No.
They're not ghosting people who are hiding ads.
Instagram is great at influencers.
Right.
The story I wrote was about how influencers on Snap are finding it very difficult to make money off being influencers on Snap. So basically how the influencer economy works is, Molly's really great at fashion. She posts an outfit of the day every day, and people follow her because they really want to know what she recommends. And then every once in a while, she'll tag a brand, or she'll do a sponsored video with a certain makeup company, and she'll make money off those posts. And what Instagram has done is they sort of legitimized this economy last year, and they said, okay, we know that this is happening, whether we like it or not.
Right.
What you can do, brand, is you can link up with this influencer post and get the analytics on it and promote it in your own feed if you want to, and generally make this influencer marketing more valuable. What Snap has said is that's not what we're for.
Right.
And so people who post their campaigns on Snap, if they want to make money off of them,
It's hard.
it's hard. I talked to one influencer who takes a screenshot of the people who watched his Snap story at the 23-hour and 59-minute mark. So he gets the people that he can report back to the brand.
Yeah.
That's the data.
You know what they
It's
should
not
do is they
the
should put a-
demographic information.
Yeah.
It's not any of the other stuff. So, and a lot of people have said, well, Sarah, that doesn't really matter because it's not really the companies
does.
making money off these ads. It's the influencers.
Right.
But Instagram has found a way to legitimize this business, as I said, and Snap could do the same. Except for Snap is very there's a lot of intention around the product and in what it should be or what it stands for.
Evan has a position.
He has a position.
Yeah.
This is a place for your intimate relationships, intimate friendships, where you can be silly. It's not for your latte art. It's not for your avocado toast for Molly's outfit of the day.
It's not for
Molly.
your flat belly tea.
It's
I keep drinking that flat belly tea. It's not working apparently. I got a bad batch.
yeah. So it's a little bit of a philosophy issue, and
Fascinating.
Does the philosophy include ever making money for Snapchat?
well, Snap
Yeah.
wants to make money in the way that is true to their creative
Yeah.
values,
Yeah.
right?
How's that working out for them? This is why
Just saying, there's
Facebook
a reason
shareholders
Facebook
want
took over the
mor-
world. There's a reason.
Yeah, because they're
There is
marauding.
mercenary
They
about
don't
a
making money.
dog in the window,
Same with
by the way. I
Apple.
feel like we should say
Oh
hi.
my
to this
God,
dog. Hi, dog.
Oh my god.
Whoa,
There
whoa,
is,
whoa,
like,
whoa.
literally a puppy behind
Shut it
me.
down. We have to go.
We
Just
have
had
to
to
go
say,
right
I
now.
was
Breaking
distracted by
news.
that.
There
I've never
is a
seen
baby
a
German
cuter
Shepherd.
Puppy in my life. I
Um,
would like to go now.
hey, moving on.
Wrap.
We're going to wrap in a minute. Bodega is a new startup by two ex-Googlers. And essentially, it's a vending machine.
Yeah.
That's like a hipster vending machine. It's
Yep.
like
It's
looks
real
like
fancy.
It looks like a cabinet. It's about waist height. It's glass front door, and you got everything you need in there. If you need a little shaving gel or whatever you need some Advil. I guess you put money in, and you take it, and you're good.
Mm-hmm.
They called it Bodega. Now I looked up in the Snowflake manual, cultural appropriation, and clearly Bodega.
Yeah. Well, they even use the cat.
What's wrong with? I don't understand. What is the cat's?
The cat is like what? The cat is how you know that it is a full-on appropriation of the actual Bronx bodega culture, because part of the bodega culture is that there's always a bodega cat. There's like a cat.
A cat in the bodega.
A cat in the bodega.
To
that there's
get
like.
rid of the mice.
It's even in Spider-Man. It's even in the latest Spider-Man movie.
Yes.
There's
No,
a cat
I
in the
grew up
bodega that he
in-
goes to. Like it's a
But
thing.
hold on a second. Bodega's a generic term that nobody owns for a convenience store.
Mm-hmm.
So if I named my startup Convenient Store, or just Convenient,
Mm-hmm.
or Convenience,
It wouldn't have had the same effect.
it would have zero effect.
Right.
But if I say Bodega, it's cultural appropriation. That's what we all commonly call.
It's not a. I don't
It's
think
not
this is a
a-
cultural appropriation
What,
thing.
so
it's
it's
just one of those
insensitive?
like, oh, that's so nice of you to try to put a bunch of bodegas out of business with your fancy startup called Bodega.
But it's not going to put bodegas out of business. It's not going to have any impact on them. These are just going to go into what, like hotel lobbies and stuff?
Really?
Where are they putting them?
They want to put them everywhere, right? In dorms,
Yeah,
and they want to put them in
they're supposed to be in apartment buildings.
an apartment building, so then you don't have to
gyms
leave your
and
apartment and go to the corner bodega because there's
campus.
one in the lobby.
But there's already vending machines there, so how is this much different?
It's very
is this
similar.
okay,
very
hold on a
similar
second.
to a vending machine.
Except with all the stuff that you would otherwise buy at the corner store.
Okay.
I mean, you have to. You
So
have
there's
to
two
admit
issues.
that a self-service,
Yes.
essentially automated corner store could have an impact. I mean,
On
just
the other-
based on the Amazon effect, I think
Yeah.
we could see that there could be a trickle-down
But it's
situation
not
for
gonna
corner
replace
stores.
the cat or the owner who knows, he
What
can.
cigarettes you buy?
Yeah, exactly. Or can
Right.
hold your keys for the guest out of town.
That's what they said about Barnes & Noble, too. It's not going to replace the bookseller who knows everything and
Right.
can tell you
Yeah,
a good
how'd that
story.
work out?
I'm just saying.
Let me tell you something. When I see a book with like
If we
94%
can reduce
5-star
our
reviews,
human interaction,
like
please.
angelthebook.com,
No, yeah, I think that the name had an emotional attachment. to
trigger?
people.
It triggered
I
people, is
think
what you're
so.
saying?
There's so much triggering right now that people are pretty fired up. And then bodegas are also, I mean, you know what? I just don't even want to go down this line because I'm just going to get myself in trouble. But the Bronx bodega culture is, is
We had it in
very,
Brooklyn,
it's very
too. I mean-
multicultural. Right? So you're basically saying, okay, we're going to go into these we're going to take this beloved thing in neighborhoods of color and we're going to appropriate it because we're two white Google guys. And then we're even
right.
going to use the cat and then we're going to make it a vending.
Let
It
me
was
ask this
basically just
question.
as tone deaf as it gets, is all
It's
it is.
it's a little tone deaf.
It's
isn't
just
it?
Yeah,
idiotic.
It's just tone deaf.
It's just tone deaf.
But it's exactly
Now-
what, and look, they're not
now,
even
wait a
both
second.
white.
One
Like
of the
I
guys
totally
is
assumed.
Indian, it
I know.
looks like.
I made all the assumptions.
All right, if it was two Hispanic founders, two female Hispanic founders who came up with this idea from the Bronx, would they have faced this backlash or not?
Not the same way, no.
No.
Because I think
The
it would
answer
have
is
been
no.
rolled out differently. It would have been marketed differently. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
And
because
these
there's a
guys,
backlash
they
already.
haven't lived in New York. And not that bodegas are only a thing in New York. They're big in LA too.
Right.
I wish we had more bodegas here in San Francisco.
Can you imagine if Wikipedia or Wikia launched today? They would be like, you're culturally appropriating wiki, which means fast in Hawaiian. Or if I had launched Mahalo today, it would be like, you're culturally appropriating the Hawaiian culture by using the word thank you.
But Wikipedia's goal is to
I feel like you're.
share information. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like
It's not taking anything away from...
I don't think I think that you're coming close to saying that this is a little bit of PC run amok, but what it really is a thing that touches on a whole bunch of things that are really raw in America right now. Automation,
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, that's fair,
marginalization.
that's fair.
Like it's just a perfect storm
perfect
of
storm.
poorly done marketing.
Right.
But
See,
I don't
always
think
look
this
at
is
the intent of the person. Like I just watched the backlash. I caught the back end of it, and I just thought, God,
I
these
think
poor...
intent is questionable because it's so influenced by privilege, though. That's the point.
Hold on a second. You got to unpack that for me.
You can say that they intended that. You can say that Mark Zuckerberg it never occurred to him. He intended for Facebook to be a platform that would be used for good because his life is so easy and delightful that nothing bad has ever happened to him. Intent is informed by your own experience, and if your own experience is sheltered and comes out of the idea that computers do everything better than people, then your intent is inherently actually untrustworthy.
What happens to this company now, do you think? If you go through this kind of, like, they were the outrage of the day or two,
Yeah.
does the company have to fold? Does the company have to move on?
They'll just change the
I
name.
don't-
Change the name and you're good?
Or maybe they won't change the name because now they've gotten all this press about their product and everyone knows what it is.
Totally.
And recognition can't be bad for a new startup. I mean, you can look at it however cynically you want to look at it.
Right. Everybody's going to use it. I mean, I think the reason people got so upset is because it would totally work. Everyone would use it.
Right. If it didn't make any sense, if they were like, we're going to make...
It's a big logistics problem.
Right. The underlying business model may not be good.
Yeah.
It's a ton of product. It's a ton of SKUs. It's like actually
I have a
being in
good
some
idea
sort
for
of
these guys.
retail. It's a glass front. It's going to get smashed. I mean, there's a million
Here's a good idea.
other questions. Yes.
Go to the existing bodegas, because a lot of them close. They're not all 24 hours. And say, we will build into the side of the store the bodega unit. So when it's 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. and you're not open, people can come and buy stuff. And make the bodegas partners in bodega. And give them a couple of shares.
It's a great idea.
That's a great idea.
That's it, huh? We can all get along.
You've had two really good laws today, I have to say, because sometimes you put down your law and I'm like, oh, sweet Jesus, the unintended consequences are just crushing me like an anvil. But today you're crushing it.
I'm on
Not
today.
in a bad way.
Not in a bad way.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, listen, I'm always trying to spitball stuff and solve a problem here or there, and sometimes
Doing
you,
great. Doing
sometimes
great, kid.
you put the flag up the pole, people salute. Other times you put the toast in the oven, you burn it. You understand what I'm saying?
That was folksy.
I don't
That was
think it
like
makes
Dan
that much
Rather
sense.
folksy.
It is a little damn rather,
Yeah.
folks. I'm working on my Mary
liked
Jason approach. I'm trying to be able to speak extensive. I'm trying to build bridges. That's like everything I do now is try to like take an outrageous thing that happened instead of taking one side or the other. Try to build a bridge in which we
you
can
didn't build
all.
any bridges with Mark Zuckerberg today,
Bridges,
I don't
not
think.
walls.
That
That's
was
No,
the
because
thing.
you know what? I
Sad.
can't be building bridges with Mark Zuckerberg because I think we're going to be head to head in a debate at some point. So I have to start laying the groundwork right now.
It's all
Because
coming together.
he's gonna go for president. He's not gonna get it. I'm gonna go for mayor. I got a pretty good shot. I think I got a better shot at mayor than he's got at president. If he goes for governor, I think he gets it. You think he wins governor, California?
No.
He can't win anything.
What would his incentive be to run for governor? I mean, he's got so much more power currently than he'd ever have in that kind of a role.
Oh, Sarah, really? Don't you understand?
All
male
those
psyche?
Silicon Valley guys secretly want to be in government.
Don't you understand
Yeah.
male psyche? There's never enough power. There's never enough. Look at Trump. The guy's going to be dead in the next 10 years. What is he, 75? 74?
No, I think he's 70. or
No,
something,
he's
isn't
older
he?
than 70. I mean, the guy looks terrible. He's like, somebody look up the age of Trump. I think it's 73. He looks like he's
I am
96.
looking. Here, I'm back there.
But anyway, he's over 70.
Yeah. 71.
71. That means
I think
he's-
I win. I was
What
gonna
is the average age a human? You win. Average age a male in the United States lives is what, 74, 75? And he's a fat bastard. I mean, he looks terrible. That guy is so out of shape. I don't know if you saw those pictures of him playing golf. It looked like Jabba the Hutt. I mean, he looks terrible, and he eats horribly. He's got 5 to 10 years left. To take the position of President of the United States, the most stressful position in the world, for the last 8 years of your life, instead of enjoying your private jet, this shows you the male psyche.
Mm-hmm.
Only a demented, deranged, egomaniacal, megalomaniac would say, I'm going to sacrifice the last 8 years just so that when I'm dead, people can say I was president.
Yep.
Because, by the way, when you're dead, you don't get to hear them say that. You know, this is how men
I mean,
think.
Zuck has all the signs. He for sure has all the signs of somebody who is going to try to make that run. I have a really hard time
76.
believing that's going to work.
Just here's the good news for the people who are anti-Trump. And I don't mean to be morbid, but the average lifespan of a male in the U.S. is 76.7 years. So he's got arguably 5 years left.
It's pretty low.
And under this stress, but then again, somebody told me his parents lived forever. They were like in their 90s or something. All right. Listen, we could sit here and talk all day. This has been absolutely
we
great.
have, in fact.
And in fact, we have. We're going to take a bio break and be back for hours 3 and 4 of This Week in Startups. But I will wrap it at. Is there anything else that we missed this week you guys wanted to comment on? Anything major? Who's got a
Hit
plug?
the big points.
We hit the big ones
We
for
hit the big
sure.
ones. I'm going to plug my new show. I mean,
Yes. Let's plug this.
Let's do it.
Molly is now the head.
It's only my second week.
I need like a, what do they call that? Timpani when they do that announcement. Go ahead. You're
Marketplace
now.
Tech. I am now the host of Marketplace Tech, which is a every weekday technology-based broadcast distributed nationally. We just picked up Seattle and Pittsburgh in my,
And
in my
it
first 2
streams.
weeks
It's
as
a
host.
podcast as well.
And you can get it as a podcast, which is what the part I'm going to plug, which is I really
Good
want
show.
to take down Reply All in the iTunes ratings just for like a day. So if you
Let's
could
do
just
it.
go ahead and
Let's do it.
subscribe to Marketplace Tech, please.
Hey, if you really
And
wanna
leave a review because that's
review,
like the key. You
please.
got to
It's sort
leave
of
the
a key.
review.
I know.
So if I could just have my one day in the sun where I'm ahead of Reply All because I've been
You want a
stuck
trick?
at 3.
I'll give you a trick.
I'm not even like I don't have I have
Here's
no
your
illusions
trick.
about TED. I'm not taking them down.
Get an email newsletter going,
Oh yes.
and then ask me about Project SR and Project SM.
Like it's good when he like leans in and the
I
voice
can't
goes kinda loud.
I can't say it
Just
on
ask
the
me about
air,
it later.
but I have 2 little secret weapons for you. Project SR, Project SM.
All right,
We'll
down.
talk after.
All right.
This is going to move you up the rankings.
But yeah, go subscribe. And one of the things I'm excited about, one of our reporting streams, I think that you'll be into, is something I'm calling Evenly Distributed, where we are actually looking at the profound impact. And my first guest on that topic was William Gibson, who coined that phrase.
What?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was.
You had William Gibson on?
Yeah.
Oh,
I had kind of a baller first week launch. I'm not going to lie. We had
That's
Ajit Pai,
amazing.
William
I love
Gibson, Steve
That's awesome.
Jurvetson. Like, it was a good.
I
but,
listened to the Steve Jurvetson one. That was great.
You know, I'm so.
I had to slow. This is the first time I took a podcast from 1.5 down to 0.5.
Because he talks at 2.
He talks at
2x.
2.5.
Yeah. I am
He
so
was candid.
proud of that. He was really candid, and he has since kept a whole conversation about diversity going on his Facebook page. And he Facebook friended me, which I thought was a little. I was like, oh,
Steve's a good
now
friend.
we're homies. I mean, it's totally fine. I like
No, he's my
normally I don't do that because I have a public
Steve's
one
my-
and a private
Steve-
one. But I was
Steve's
like,
my
all
homie.
right, we
You
could be
have two,
homies. Like,
see?
Steve's my homie. He's good people.
he's a good person.
He's a legitimate good person.
But yes, it's very exciting. Anyway, the future is here. It's just not very evenly distributed. So we have a story this week about an app that lets people check their food stamp balance on their smartphone because apparently that didn't exist, which is crazy. And we have a real human from the Bronx,
Wait a second.
A
He,
real
like shopping in a bodega.
wait, your food stamps you can't do what?
You could not check your food stamp balance on an app on a phone. You would have to call and enter in like a 16-digit PIN that
Wow.
most people would just have to commit to memory, and it's like a multiple prompt situation. And so we interviewed this woman who's like, if I don't want to go through that and I'm in line, you know, sometimes I don't get all the way through the process before I have to check out, and then I come up short and I have to put groceries back, and it's like the
Yeah.
most non-technical. And so we interviewed this guy who used to work at Facebook and quit to try to build apps to solve social problems because
All right,
his
I gave
family
you
used to be
guys-
on food stamps.
I gave you guys two ideas that I thought were pretty good. Jason's Law for the transparency on the ads.
I love that ad transparency thing. That is
Hey,
genius.
have me on Marketplace next week. We'll do it.
Totes, let's do it. Let's plan.
Totes do that. That'd be
The
good.
bodega.
You should come on Make Me Smart.
That'd be good.
Cross
You're
promo.
saying it will make me smart, or do you have
No, you
people on
should
there?
come make
Oh, to
us
help other
smart.
people get smart?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, good luck with that. Here's my. Oh God, I forgot my third idea. Anyway, follow William Gibson. He's great dismal on the Twitter. He's good. He's good on Twitter.
He's so brilliant. He's so brilliant.
He's a brilliant.
We
cat.
put up the full 45-minute interview. We called it the source code.
It's
So
very
you can,
good.
if you got nothing but time.
All right, let's get this wrapped up here.
Yes, sorry.
Sarah, I give you A+ by the way for your first appearance.
Thank
did
you very
good.
much.
You did very good. How old are you, and how long you been a reporter? I'm just
How old am I? I just, this weekend will turn 28.
28.
Oh my God.
So you've been reporting for what? 6 years? 7 years? How long you been a journalist?
Yeah.
And you have Bloomberg for how many years?
Bloomberg the whole time.
The whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Very nice.
Not including like internships, but
Uh huh. Where'd you go to school?
UNC Chapel Hill.
Very good. All right.
Go Heels.
We should have turned to you for all that Southern accent stuff that we were doing in the
yeah,
middle
you
there.
could have gotten us going.
Well, I'm
on that.
from
I mean,
California.
I'm sure you must have internalized a little bit of it.
Oh yeah. I can do a good impression.
Ass tea.
Listen, Bloomberg's got a great group of reporters over there. Obviously, Eric's over there
Such
doing a
good
great
work.
job.
Mm-hmm.
Although how does he get into the board? How does Eric, Kara,
Mike.
and Mike all fit into the air ducts at the Uber board meetings? Like, how big is the air duct at the Four Seasons? Like, or
Just imagining them all like.
no, you just here's totally what I imagine. I imagine the three of them, literally in Four Seasons room service uniforms, bringing in the water bottles and the pens and the papers, and like slowly like.
All three
We're
of those
just
guys
putting
are-
these
are
water bottles here
hard
for
to-
you,
hard to
and
miss.
can we clear your plates? And they're just like, what? They're doing a bang-up job over there. Everybody follow @business. It's nice to work at Bloomberg, huh? You got that nice office over there.
It's gorgeous.
We've
Free
got a
food.
great team, lots of scoops.
Doing pretty good. Who is the woman who we had on the program who just destroyed Hampton Creek for their
Olivia Zaleski.
Olivia? She's great. We had
She's
her on the
badass.
program too, and she barbecue sauced. We call it getting barbecued in the biz. She got barbecue sauced. Hampton Creek got barbecued. Their whole board quit en masse, and then Juicero
Juicer was Ellen Hewitt.
with
Yeah.
Ellen Hewitt.
Yeah.
Wow, nice job over there. Why is it that Bloomberg is doing so well? Do they give you time to report? Is that the issue? They
The
give you
goal
time?
is scoops. We're trying to.
So no more trying to
add
keep up with
value.
like the tech meme, blah blah blah, with like.
Oh, I mean, we do the basic stuff too, but the goal is to tell people things they don't already know.
I like it. You guys are doing real well. I mean, this investigative journalism thing is really keeping people on their toes. I feel like we got a good adversarial I think sometimes the rage stuff where like Bodega gets destroyed like for being clueless, that worries me a bit because I hate when you take somebody's intent, which was good, but cluelessness, and then you make it very personal, which it gets very personal on Twitter.
Kind of a meme.
Yeah, the outrage machine thing is.
It's just a little cruel to people.
not
Like
new.
I think people kill themselves over this. Like maybe not adults, but kids for sure do. So I just think we as a society have to start mitigating against that a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like the fact that the bullshit meter and journalists are no longer taking the TechCrunch high five culture of like everything's great, and there was a press release about Google buying a company, and so that has to be true because it was on PR Web where anybody can post anything for $50 and we'll just run it without ever calling Google. Now you have a whole, it's all bifurcating. You have like TechCrunch doing no original reporting, just rehashing shit, and then you have you guys like actually doing real calling people on the phone. It's good. It's good for the ecosystem.
Yeah,
Should tell the ecosystem.
you should totally tell them.
You know what? I honestly think it's all going to balance itself out because, you know, having been on both sides of the table, you know, I was a journalist for 10, 15 years on my own magazine and then an investor for 5 or 6. Having seen both sides, there's a group of people who deserve to get knocked on their ass for doing stupid shit and behaving in an inappropriate manner. And it should be fact-based, and it, you know, just we just gotta keep it classy. Like it shouldn't get into people's personal lives. And I mean, unless there's something that is personal in the workplace.
We didn't talk about SoFi on this.
We missed that one. I mean, what more do you need to know? The
Our
guy was
list,
dating his
yeah.
assistant and sending lurid texts to people.
It's textbook.
Another
It's
story.
it's another textbook example of like, don't date at work. Don't date at work. This is a very simple concept. We've gone through three generational changes. When Molly and I were coming up in the industry, people fraternized at work.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of expected. Now in your generation, they explicitly tell you, do not fraternize at work, correct? Like, don't date your subjects, don't date anybody at work. They tell you this, correct, in HR?
Oh yeah.
Right.
When
we
we
were,
like, do they?
I'm
God, I hope
curious.
so.
I'm pretty
I
sure
know,
they
I'm
do.
curious.
You know,
but I don't know.
if you have a relationship, you have to disclose it basically.
Right.
I don't fully remember the policy, but
yeah,
I'm
no,
pretty sure
you-
I'm due for another one of the compliance
Sessions.
training sessions, and
The sessions when we used to go to them, correct me if I'm wrong, Molly, were a chance to joke about how absurd the training was. And people were just kind of goofing off at it. And it was kind of like a checkbox that I went to training. And people were dating at work. In fact, the generation before us, boomers, were told to go to work explicitly to find a spouse. And many of our parents,
People are still dating at work, though. Come on.
they still do,
Put a
but
bunch of 20-somethings in an office together. What are
they
they
should
gonna
not.
do?
They should not. And I
How
was
are they not
watching
going to?
Insecure.
It's okay if they date if they're peers.
It's still not okay. I'll tell you why.
They just have to disclose it.
Still shouldn't do it. I was watching. You guys watch Insecure? HBO.
Oh yes.
This is
I haven't
a
watched
really
it yet,
good
but it's
show.
like it's on my as soon as I get through this other thing list, you know. Like,
No,
yes.
Insecure is amazing. It's sort of like Girls, but it's urban.
Yeah.
And it's in L.A. in Inglewood, where I used to go play poker at Hollywood Park. So I kind of.
I've seen almost every single actor from Insecure on Jesus and Mero, so I feel like I watch it, even though I don't.
Yeah, I
watch
watch
it.
them all on the
I'm
Breakfast
up on the
Club,
plot.
but so like they're always on the Breakfast Club, and you get to watch them there. But it's very interesting because they have a theme in it of an African American, one of the leads, goes to work at a white tech company in Santa Monica at the which is apparently at the Winter Garden, which is where all the tech companies are, and it's a really interesting like his experience at the white bro culture thing. It's important for people to watch.
Anyway,
But anyway, they're
don't
all
date
dating
at work.
at
I didn't
work.
mean to say it's like okay.
They're
don't
all
date
dating at work, and I could tell you inevitably
does it?
it's going to
It's
end in
not good.
tears. Do not date at work. You have Tinder now. You have Match.com. We didn't have this.
Yeah,
You had no choice. You met people at work, and that's it.
or at the gym or the dog park.
Let me tell you something. I got a long.
There was just a whole study actually about how none of that works. The Match.com and the Tinder, like the rates are. It was basically like you have just as good of odds at the as you have just as good of odds at the dog park as you do on Tinder because it's just more fun.
for sure,
but
the dog park in New York was popping. That
Yeah.
was like better than going to Palladium.
you put all the makeup on.
Yeah,
not
you got to be like you got to look good but be casual.
Right.
In New York, we called it uglying up. I had a model friend who she was
Uglying up?
so stunning that she literally uglied up to go out. So she would wear, when she went to walk her dog, like, her hair would be messy, baseball cap, wear like ill-fitting clothes, just so that she would be less catcalled.
That's exactly why I look
street.
like this right now, by the way. Just what you
Just
said.
to
That's
just
what I'm
lower the
doing.
cat calls. All right, listen, everybody. Thanks again to Molly Wood. Follow her at Molly Wood. Go ahead and subscribe and rate and write a review
Do it.
of Marketplace Tech. She is the new host, and she is awesome. And if you haven't listened to the Steve Jurvetson episode, it was particularly good. And you guys went through the landmine and went through the minefield, and I think it was a positive discussion. Sarah Frier on the Twitter. Follow at business, which is Bloomberg's. It's confusing, but that's Bloomberg's handle. If you type at Bloomberg, do you get Mike Bloomberg? Or no, he's Mike Bloomberg, I think. And they have this incredible office.
You might own that one too.
Free food. Got to be careful working over there. I was just on Bloomberg Radio in New York, and like on the way out, I literally took 8 items.
You get the coconut chips, the brownie bites.
I was literally like going station to station. It was like I was at Whole Foods. It was literally like my visit to Bloomberg.
They're like, check Jason off the list.
No, like I go to CNBC, and they're like, oh yeah, we got like the, would you like a coffee? I'm like, yeah, and? Then I go to Bloomberg, and they're like, Froyo, juice.
Ooh, we don't have Froyo, but
In New York, they got a Froyo machine.
they do now?
Yeah.
Oh man, I
They
left
don't
an office
care.
in 2013.
They
so
don't. They do
things have
not
changed.
care
You're like,
about.
well, I don't have any Froyo.
All right, everybody. Hey, thanks to my friends at Twitter for allowing us to try the Twitter live streaming platform. Worked great, and looks like we had 200 to 300 people on it. So that was very nice of them. Well done, at Jack. By the way, my name's at Jason. We've met like 18 times. Last time we met, you didn't know who I was.
Maybe he was a little drunk.
No, he wasn't.
Just starting
no,
rumors.
no.
It was hella high.
This is like, I had this great moment. I was like literally coming out of my hotel in LA, and I'm at the valet waiting for an Uber, and I look over and I'm like literally standing 6 inches away from Evan Spiegel. So I'm like, oh, Evan, how you doing? Hey, how's it going? Da da da, blah blah blah. I start talking to him, and I realize he doesn't know who I am. I said, oh, I'm Jason Calacanis. We have these 3 friends. Da 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 da. And he's like, oh, okay, that's great. Whatever. No idea. He's so out of Silicon Valley culture. Like he's like, does not care about Silicon Valley culture at all. That company is getting murdered, huh?
I'm not saying anything because we're just about to start a whole other. I think I heard Jackie just be like, "Stop the show."
Stop that. No, they're
I'm
seriously
just, like,
getting murdered.
not- I mean, because he doesn't seem to also care about making any money. I don't
and
know.
Facebook
saying.
is just like, let's just steal everything. I
Yeah.
mean, talk about headwinds. My God, it's literally like he's Cersei, and like he's up against like Mark Zuckerberg and 3 dragons. It's like Dracarys. Poof. Facebook is just like Dracarys. All right. Well, thanks again to Scott Walker and the Walker Corporate Law Group, and of course WordPress. Matt Mullenweg, my pal. Thanks for supporting Independent Media like This Week in Startups, and thank you, Emmy Award-winning producer Jackie, 4 Emmys and counting. We'll see you all next time on This Week in Startups. Bye bye. Good job, everybody. Sorry that took so long, but
Great
you're
show.
too good. You're too good.